Hello and welcome to the limit of Adhesion. Today we've got round 5 of Dom's silly season. My name's Dan and joining me in the commentary booth today is James Pepper. James, how you feeling, mate?
I'm not too bad, thank you, Dan. Hopefully we'll get a good race today.
I believe so. These cars always produce great racing and this track is a good one for it. You can see today we are at Okayama. It's a very hot track, it seems, so I imagine a lot of the cars will be struggling for grip out of there. Anyways, the format for today's race, 20-minute race, and every lap the person in last place gets disqualified. So it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah, definitely. Gonna be an interesting one then.
Currently in the championship, we've got Gavin Kelly leading it, with Stephen Maxwell following closely behind on 67 points, with his teammate Evan Conception also tied with him on points, with Don Parker only trailing 4 points behind that. Michael Messenger a point off further from that. Mark Innes in 6th, Oliver Ettridge in 7th, Oliver Walker in 8th, Nico Martel in 9th, Dan O'Hanlon in 10th, Marin Hugavine in 11th, Chris White in 12th, Dan Shaw in 13th, Mark Zeff in 14th, Jake Weaver in 15th. I couldn't quite catch the rest there, unfortunately. So then, lining up on the grid for today's race, we've got Rafael Sakira on pole, with Stephen Greening close behind in 2nd, Eric Pusey in 3rd, Sean Clark in 4th, Chris Forrester in 5th, Stephen McCann in 6th, Rich Meesters in 7th, Sherman Lauren in 8th, James Pepper in 9th, Mark Zeff in 10th, Chris White in 11th, Marin Hugavine in 12th, Dan Hammond in 13th, Nico Martel in 14th, Oliver Walker in 15th, Oliver Ettridge in 16th, Mark Innes in 17th, Messenger, Parker and Maxwell rounding out the final 3 from the top 20. So as the lights go red, we are ready to go green. And away we go. Rafael Sakira clean off the line there, as he'll be looking to hold the inside line. However, Pusey and Greening have dived up his inside.
Yeah, there's one off.
That looks like... I think that's Eric Pusey, unfortunately, dropping far behind already, with Greening already 2 seconds out. There's carnage unfolding everywhere. There's death. It's murder. That does not look good out there.
Not one bit.
Hopefully everybody's okay and that direct drive wheels haven't hurt anybody, but that is exactly what Stephen Greening needs to get away from the rest of the pack. Chirmalarin now just under 4 seconds behind him already, and we're only half a lap through the race. As Mark Innes chooses to drive onto the grass there, rather interestingly. Not sure what his plan was for that.
Who's that off?
Who was that? Might have been Chris Forrester, I'm not sure. Similar car to Stephen, but he's still leading. Oh, that looked like Mark Innes off, and it is in the legendary Golden Wang car. That's a shame for him. There's been a lot of offs already. I think the hot track is definitely catching a lot of people out, as looks like Evan Conception makes a strong dive, but unfortunately the car behind is taken. Or I do apologise, that was Evan, I think, the car behind getting him taken. So already a lot of on-track action, James. Do you see similar things unfolding for the remainder of the race?
Yeah, definitely going to be a lack of grip, as you said, to start with.
Already a car pulling into the pits. That was Stephen Maxwell there. He's had some issues.
Yeah, that last corner is going to be difficult to accelerate out of.
We see here Chris Forrester getting off the line pretty pretty cleanly. He wasn't too far behind from the cars ahead. Unfortunately, Sakira got spun, and he's actually able to gain 2 positions from that. So that wasn't a bad outcome for him at all. But unfortunately, car ahead has spun. Does he get hit? No. He actually survives it. So he's up to 2nd already at that point. But you can see here a much better angle of Mark Innes hitting Rich Meesters, and Nico Martel desperately trying to avoid everything. And it's just death unfolds around him.
Yeah.
I think Ollie Ettridge is up to P2 now. He's gone from being involved in a turn 2 wreck. No, sorry, I think it was Michael Messenger following Stephen Greening. No, they're all risky teammates. But this really is Ollie Ettridge's car. This is just what he loves to drive. As he gets taken out for a 3rd time now. That's really poor. Like 4th. Oh dear.
I think every man for himself there.
You drove in this race, James. How was it on your end?
Yeah, as I say, last corner was difficult to accelerate out of, especially if you went too wide. Other than that, it was just trying to keep out of that turn 2 wreck.
Yeah. Dano Hammond here. Looks like Mark Innes has let him past or breaks early. Maybe not actually. He comes back fighting, but Dano seemed to have a much stronger speed advantage. I wonder if Mark's down on top speed by quite a bit. Well, the Etrigis car's really beaten up there. He may need to pull into pits for a fast repair, but that will definitely ruin his race further.
Yeah, you don't want to be making any unneeded pit stops in this race.
No, especially when it's so short in 20 minutes. Even in silly season strategies coming into it. Dano just shoots off in front of Mark. There's a car rejoining. That looks like... Not sure who that was. Looks like James Pepper going slowly. No, sorry, I do apologise. Pepper's car 28. Who's 531? Ah, Sean Clark. Sorry, James, I thought you were in the 531.
No, it's...
Sean must have had some early onset issues then for everybody to overtake him as Mark Innes has another off. That's definitely unfortunate. His car will be... I think he looked like he had some rear end damage then. Aaron Hugavine, the reigning open wheeler champion, making a move into the hairpin. Outside car locking up. That was Stephen Maxwell there. Unforced error. But despite the carnage and the damaged cars, there's actually a lot of pure racing action going on, which is always good to see.
Yeah, some nice battles as well. Cautious driving.
Apart from turn 1.
Yeah.
You can tell Messenger wants this P2. He's right on the tail of Chirmalarin. We'll be looking to secure a risky racing 1-2. Conception now down the inside of number 18. That is Chris White conceding a position there.
It's Chris Forrester.
His McLaren teammate, has also made another error by accident, spinning round before the final complex of turns. Seems that, as mentioned before, these conditions really affecting a lot of people. Someone pulling over there.
Seeing Chirmalarin trying to keep out of wheel spin territory.
Definitely, with the boiling track that we have today, in these cars with such high torque outputs, that will definitely be one of the main important things to not spin, as opposed to locking up under the brakes, which is another common undesirable characteristic of the Radical. But he seems to be holding on well to Messenger, although he's now in the tow and will have that extra straight line speed. But he still made it into the hairpin in P2. Now he's pulled away from Messenger again, as we see Conception battling further with Chris White. Into the hairpin we go. He's got the inside, but does he have the overlap? He does. Plenty of room for the drivers. Sorry, that's Dano Hammond there driving, not Chris White. Very similar cars though. We give a replay of Malarin's move. I believe that's a move on Messenger. Yeah, just utilising the Beans car as it is to gain the gap. Here we see Mark Innes' spin. Oh, he gets taken out unfortunately mid-spin. That certainly won't help.
Taken out by the Rebellion.
Chris White is doing his duty. Ollie Walker now with an extremely damaged front end as he attacks a car with an extremely damaged rear end. It's him versus Dano Hammond. Don't think he can quite get past, but he still goes for it and Hammond lets him through. It's very aggressive driving from Mr. Walker, but it's what he does best.
will Dano be able to get him back not into the hairpin?
It may be that Ollie's damage is not quite as bad as Dano's and that he can just pull away.
Yep.
Dano does have the toe here. He swerves to avoid it and there's a sudden slipstream train. Ollie Ettridge still not doing bad despite his early onset issues. I think we're definitely on for a good battle here. See maybe a few rebellion cars. Seemed like a car on the wall back there. I wonder who that was. Could be race ending. You can see already now, Stephen McCann being in last place has pulled over, and I can see Rafael Sequeira. Very unfortunate, his first silly season race after starting on pole. He's now down 20th, just making a move for Sean Clark. So I believe at the end of this lap it will be, Sean Clark has now pulled over. He is out of the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunate then, Sean. An early retirement.
It'll be because he's in last place.
Yeah.
Just being disqualified, part of the rules for this one. Mark Zeff in the pits as well. I wonder what issues he's had. He's dropped a few positions.
Ollie Ettridge just managing to keep close to watch a good fight here. Not getting too involved.
His experience in the Radical will allow him to know how to deal with the car, but unfortunately he has got Gavin Kelly hot on his tail. He will be looking to finish in a higher position as his championship rivals, or at least Evan Conception, one of his championship rivals, quite a few positions in front of him in P6 as opposed to P11. It would seem that Stephen Greening's had an issue as Chimalaran now takes the lead of the race with Messenger still following closely behind in P2. That is very unfortunate for Stephen, as I'm sure he wanted to win this race and get the risky racing 1-2. Oh, there's contact. Ollie Ettridge is round at the final corner.
Not what he wanted there.
Definitely not. Looked like he went for a bump draft around the final corner. Rather suitably named last turn. Or something like that. Stephen Greening now unfortunately has to rejoin the track in 7th, which is really far down from where he was, but he was looking fast earlier, so maybe he can gain some positions back. However, to do that he'll have to get through Ollie Walker, which in any car is certainly no easy feat, as unfortunately Chris White spins again.
Lots of traction there, is it?
Yeah, it's just rear end snapping him. It looks like he got beached in the gravel, actually.
That'll be a tow then.
Definitely.
Hopefully it's not too long for him.
At least now with Stevens' early pit lane... Oh, what's happened there? Michael Messenger goes to pit as well. I wonder what's happening with him. Well, that's really unfortunate. That gives Chur much bigger gap to hold on to his lead now. Oh, you can just see Ollie slightly caught the gravel, which having to break around that corner, which you have to do, never good. Chur's flying now. He's got a bigger gap than Stephen Greening did, and that now also puts Greening up to 6th. But what happened to Mr. Messenger?
Yeah, Chris White has finally made it back to pit lane.
You can see now Mark Zeff has officially retired from the race. Fortunately, maybe that Nico Martel is next to be out, as he's just on 20 seconds away from James Pepper, and unless a car ahead of him has a mistake or an issue, he won't be able to get past as Mark Innes luckily avoids another car stop there. So he looks to hunt down Michael Messenger, the previous race leader. Mark clutching in. which is interesting. I'm now beginning to wonder, should Malaren is the pits? I think this, my mistake, this race has fuel pit stops. That's why Stephen Greening and Michael Messenger pitted. Because with Mark Innes fuel saving like that, and with Chur now going into the pits with no damage, it all makes sense now. They're limited on fuel. So it may actually be... It would, yeah. It may actually be now that an earlier pit stop, if you were up front, will be beneficial, as you won't go last just yet, but you won't have to pit again and you'll be promoted much higher up.
Chur's on his way out of the pits then.
Only down to track in 7th. So he actually now has a 5-second gap to Michael Messenger now, so Messenger pitting early seems to have not benefited him at all, as the clean air did not allow him to go any faster. Chur's only 6/10 now away from Gavin Kelly, who's yet to make a pit stop, so it would seem that Chur will only have to cover Stephen Greening and try catch up to him again.
Greening gets through nice and easily.
Yeah, he does indeed. I can see now Nico Martel has pulled out into the pits and is out of the race.
Chur will definitely be wanting to get through the field as fast as he can.
Exactly, yeah. Pitting later means you won't have as much clean air as Stephen Greening might have done at one point, which will have allowed him to increase the gap, I'd imagine. Well, it wouldn't appear so looking at the interval standings. You can see now Gavin Kelly pulling into the pits to make his pit stop. Greening up to P3 after his pit stop. He doesn't really need to push Don Parker that hard, but he does anyway as Parker chooses to let him by. And maybe not, as he looks to front another challenge at him. Doesn't seem like he's quite got the run, unfortunately. Ollie Walker making a bold move down the inside of Don Parker for track position. So I'd imagine they'll both be pitting at the end of this lap, unless Ollie's been doing his signature move and fuel saving like crazy, which he's become known for. Ollie Ettridge's car looks to be repaired now. He has made a pit stop, so he's got a few more cars yet to stop ahead of him that will allow him to get a few positions back, and hopefully his pace in the Radical will carry him further up the field. However, as he looks to battle with Maren Hugaveen, a very capable driver in these cars, who has also done his pit stop. Ollie Walker now into the pits, Dan Hammond into the pits. Seems that the rest of the cars yet to pit are coming in. Could be a challenge from Ettridge here into turn 1 as he moves up to 10th. Getting a few further positions there despite his little spin earlier as he goes wide, catches the gravel, but manages to hold on to the car there, right on the edge of his car's grip. I was lucky. Chris Forrester now leading the race by 2.4 seconds, however he's yet to do his pit stop. It seems that him, Don Parker and Mark Innes are the only people yet to pit, doing a very good job at fuel saving. Maybe they've worked out the strategy and found that to be fastest. Oh, however, Chris Forrester is now pulled into the pits. You would see that Eric Pusey and James Pepper are now also out of the race, having been in last for a couple of laps.
Evan giving no breathing room to Mark Innes then.
No, definitely not. Though he didn't need to, as Mark is now doing his pit stop. Ettridge will probably move up another... Yeah, he'll move up another position, maybe even 2, onto Mark and potentially Chris Forrester, which is what he needs, and it will be very impressive driving from him, as Chirmalarin now also moves past Don Parker for 2nd place, as he's now big 8 seconds behind Stephen Greening. He really needs to find some pace, or hope that Greening gets into an issue, as Don Parker's fuel saving like mad to try delay his pit stop, or at least make it to the end of this lap maybe, as there's a car off there. That's number 64, that's Rich Meesters making an unfortunate unforced error. However, it would seem James Pepper's not out of the race and is continuing on. Olietri now up to 8, looking to attack Merrin, who he's been behind for a while now. It may be that he can't quite find the pace needed.
Both Ettridge and Merrin get bad exits.
Convenient for a car behind Ettridge.
And Chris White keeping tight alongside Mark Innes.
Yeah, although that would probably be a maximum of P10 for Chris White if he could make the move work, which he may be able to do going into the next corner. Mark, however, does make a defensive attempt and manages to keep Chris White behind him just in time. However, they've got Stephen Maxwell hot on both of their heels. Ollie Ettridge now waving about. That's the checkered flag. Ollie Ettridge, unfortunately, only capable of P8.
Unfortunate there.
The race. Indeed.
Maybe a lap 2 he could have got.
Definitely. Would seem... Actually, no. Not all cars have taken the checkered flag yet. It's being waved, but I think that's just the white flag. I think Ollie Ettridge... Yeah, Merrin made a mistake into turn 1, and Ollie Ettridge is now up to P7.
It says checkered flag, but that's confusing.
It does, but I think the white flag... I think this is Stephen Greening now about to take the checkered flag, as he wins the round 5 of silly season. All alone there. I believe so.
Yeah.
They're waving the... Yeah, cheers weaving. That is the end of the race. Couldn't quite tell there. It was a bit confusing. Michael Messenger managing to make an impressive P3 though, and Don Parker having to clutch over the line to not run out of fuel. He's managed to actually make the entire race without a pit stop, which has benefited him massively, putting him just outside of the podium positions, unfortunately, but considering his qualifying place, that is very impressive driving from Dom. With Evan Conception making a crucial P5 finish to close the gap to Gavin Kelly, who's finished P8, Ollie Walker in P6, Ollie Ettridge in P7, Merrin Hugavine in 9th, and Mark Innes in 10th to round out the top 10. Chris White unable to attack him into the final few laps, as Mark now takes the checkered flag to complete his race. One of the final races for the legendary Golden Wing. It'll be sad to see it go. Chris White now crosses the line in 11th, and Chris Forrester in 12th, as James Pepper in 15th is now... Oh, there's carnage at the first corner.
There we go then. Interesting race.
Thrilling race to watch. Very interesting. A different format, but some good racing and lots of carnage, which is always what we expect to see and love to see in silly season. So, at the end of the race, Stephen Greening took the win by 8.5 seconds, with Chirmalarin behind him in 2nd, Michael Messenger in 3rd, Don Parker in 4th, Ewan Conception in 5th, Oliver Walker in 6th, Oliver Ettridge in 7th, Gavin Kelly in 8th, Hugavine in 9th, and Innes in 10th to round out the top 10. We will need to look at the championship standings to see how everybody is still looking, with potentially Gavin Kelly in the lead despite all of the carnage. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you for the next one.